Hello. Thank you so much for joining me for this yoga session. Hopefully you're staying safe and well, you're taking care of yourself, and you've gathered all the things you need in order to keep yourself comfortable and supported for our time together. So that should be at least as much room as a yoga mat. So if you don't have a yoga mat, at least as much room as one. And if you are practicing on a towel or a blanket, you really don't get a lot of the posture awareness because I think you might be afraid you're going to slip a lot. So if you haven't invested in a mat, they really aren't that expensive. See if you can do that. I've got blankets, I've got blocks. Once again, you can get those a lot of places. Since yoga is so trendy, there's always some place that's got some deal where you can get like a mat and blocks and a strap, which maybe we'll go into a couple strap moves. This session is going to be pretty much all on the floor. We're not even going to stand up, at least I don't think so. But there's still going to be a lot of body awareness training and holding yourself in your trunk as you're careful with your limbs. So that being said, find that comfortable seat, or you can lay down, whatever works for you, letting yourself settle in on your breath, letting your eyes close if that is comfortable. If not, just having that slight gaze a few feet in front of you. If you are sitting up and you don't want to sit up in the middle of a room, you can always lean back against something in order to have that support on your body. And just let your awareness come to your breath and settle on your breath. That's all you're doing now. You are practicing unhooking from the world and what's going on in your life as much as you can, and just cultivate a connection to the space between your thoughts. So you're looking for that place between your thoughts, letting that lengthen, staying in that awareness. Paying attention to the breath, letting the breath get as full and deep as feels good. Starting to do that 3-part yoga breath. That's where you fill up the lower third of your lungs, then the middle third, then the upper third, and then release fully, upper, middle, lower. And let that full, deep 3-part yoga breath help keep you anchored in your body, in the present moment. You're cultivating that benevolent witness. You're setting aside the harsh judge, the harsh jury, and just being with your breath and your body right where you're at, meeting yourself right where you're at, and accepting yourself right where you're at. You don't need to strive for anything. You just need to be and breathe. Remember, if your feet or your toes are getting tingly, if you're seated, make sure that you take time to arrange your legs so you're not uncomfortable. And then come back to that breath. This is where you start to practice paying attention to your breath, the space between your thoughts, and if for whatever reason, right, the thoughts become more what you pay attention to, but then you become aware that you're doing that, that's exactly when you're doing yoga right. So you will get it if you keep showing up and practicing. Letting the awareness settle in on the breath, in on your body. Feel yourself engage and press down into your mat. If you are laying down, you can always roll over from a fetal-like position to come up to seated, pressing yourself down into your mat, and then lengthen yourself up out of your mat. Stretch yourself, take up all that space that's around you, still breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest, exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. Your hands, if they aren't near your heart or your belly, bring them there. It can be one, the other. Let yourself breathe full and deep. Feel your body rise and fall with that breath. That is that's the rhythm of the universe. Is that inhale and exhale, and you being connected to yours helps you stay connected to your place in humanity. And then once you're ready to move, let your hands come down. If you are seated up on something or against something, bring yourself so you're away from that thing, and then make sure that your legs are in a comfortable position. And if you need to rearrange, take time to do that. And then hands can be on your legs or out to the side, and you're going to start to make some circles going around, letting your body start to open, inhaling and exhaling. You're pressing down with your lower body, you're lifting up with your upper body, breathing full and deep, inhaling and exhaling. If you are doing that lift, you can start to feel this along your back and your obliques. And then pause anywhere, whether you're forward or back or to a side. And let yourself reverse the direction, breathing full and deep. This isn't a very fast move. It's pretty slow. You're getting that massage on your bottom. And then you're going to pause and just breathe full and deep. Navel, ribs, chest. Exhale fully, chest, ribs, navel. Make sure you're taking care of yourself by drinking. Breathing full and deep. And then we're going to reach those arms, keep those girdles engaged up above the head. And then it's a drop to an opposite knee, and then a look over as you start to move side to side. And once again, it's not a very big move. It's just a little stretch. Think about trying to keep your navel nice and square and solid and cement, and you are lifting and moving the heart. The next time you find yourself looking towards the right, so the right hand is behind you, the left hand is somewhere along that right leg. Doesn't have to be at the knee. It can be anywhere on that right leg. And you're looking over that right shoulder, breathing full and deep. You're keeping your navel nice and in cement, nice and solid, and you are lifting and turning the heart. And then you are lifting and coming through center, letting yourself pause in the middle. Notice how it feels. And then you're going to pause on the other side. So left hand comes behind, right arm, hand anywhere on that left leg. Stay connected to your breath. Stay connected to pressing down, and stay connected to lifting up, inhaling and exhaling. And then once again, back through center. Hands come back in front of your heart. They can rest anywhere on your body or out to the side. Just take a couple moments and notice how you feel. Inhale and exhale. And then still making sure that your stance is, or your seat is comfortable. You can also rearrange your legs at any time to do that. Stay connected and lifted. Keep that shoulder girdle lifted and bring that right arm out. This is where you're going to be really careful with the elbow. You're going to bring that right arm across and then gently pull that right arm so you'll get that nice stretch on that shoulder. Keep pulling that right shoulder down. Do not hurt that elbow. Your gaze can be wherever feels good, inhaling and exhaling. So you're just giving yourself a gentle press on this right arm. You're being gentle with your hand. Inhale. You don't have to grip. You don't have to make this hard. But you should feel it. There's sensation. All right, let yourself release. Just take a moment. Notice how you feel. Notice how the right shoulder might feel compared to the left shoulder. And then you're going to do the same thing left side. So keep that girdle engaged. Pull that left arm over. Get that nice stretch. Inhaling and exhaling. Don't hyperextend. Don't hurt any of your joints. Stay with your breath. Stay solid in your trunk as you gently pull that limb across your body. And then you're going to let that go. Notice how you feel inhaling and exhaling. And then you're going to take that right hand and you're going to reach for behind or the back of your head, your neck. And so stay lifted. Try to bring that right elbow up. Try to keep the shoulder down. And if you do find it way down here, it's okay. Just keep trying to open and work. Now, if you want to reach with that opposite hand, you may or may not touch. This is where you can, I'm not touching, but you can also put a strap in this hand and then reach for it with the other hand. It's all about having that awareness of how your body feels. You're going to let it go. If you do have a clasp, great. Let it go. Just don't hurt any of those delicate joints. And then it's the other side's turn. And this is where you're going to see how maybe your sides are the same or similar. Maybe you're able to reach and clutch your fingers on one side but not the other. Keep bringing that elbow up to feel that stretch. You then reach. If it feels good to you, keep breathing. This is a big stretch. Even if you do not get your fingers, you are still getting a stretch. Stay with your breath. You should feel this. It probably feels pretty darn intense. And then you're going to let it go and let those shoulders gently shrug to move around and notice how it feels, inhaling and exhaling, staying with that breath. And then bring yourself down onto your stomach. Let yourself do that windshield wiper move to reset. You can also make pillows with your arms and rest your head. I'm going to keep my head lifted and keep looking at the device so my voice doesn't get muffled. But as much as you can, relax down. Pay attention to your whole body on the floor. Do whatever feels good. Maybe it's a combination of windshield wiper and a little bit of a wiggle. Stay with your breath. Inhale and exhale. And then bring your hands in front of you, your elbows a little bit underneath your shoulders. Bring those legs down your mat and activate them and bring them together. So bring those elbows right underneath your shoulders. Spread those fingers wide. You're going to really be heavy with that lower body. You are engaging your glutes, but you're not just squeezing your glutes. You are activating the framework, and you're not going to lift your feet. And you're going to breathe full and deep and just gently try to pull your heart a little bit further through towards the front of your space through those hands. Inhale and exhale. And then stay with that lengthening. Lift those elbows and lengthen all the way down, coming into the release, once again, windshield wipering, doing whatever feels good. Stay with your breath. And then looking down towards the mat, legs active, hands come right by your face, pull those elbows down by your sides, try to stay really active. The only thing that's up is your face and your collarbone to start with. That is, and you're pressing the legs down and together. You're pulling the framework, really trying to pull your pelvis into the mat. You're engaging the glutes, but not just squeezing them. You are also pulling the framework into place. And then lift from your lower body, lower and lift. It's like that upper body is moving as a unit. So the hands stay right by the shoulders. Those elbows keep pulling, and you are lifting yourself from that lower body. If you feel your feet coming off, then put them back on the floor. Do not let your feet lift. And this isn't really about going up. It's more about getting nice and long. And then you're going to release that. Bring those arms to wherever feel good. Windshield wiper back and forth. Notice how you feel. Inhaling and exhaling. And then bring your arms in front of you. Legs active behind you. This is where we're going to work opposite limb. Once again, only thing up is my face. It's looking right down towards the floor. You are trying to have that nice long neck. Pulling those ears away from those shoulders, and then you're going to lift right arm, left leg, and then bring down, and then it's opposite, and it's not a big lift, right? It's more of a stretch away. Inhaling and exhaling. And if you haven't eaten any food, this will feel better than if you've eaten food. Breathing full and deep. If you want to lift and do that swimming move, that takes a lot of strength. If that doesn't feel good, then let yourself go back to doing just the opposite. And after a few, you're going to be done. You're going to bend those knees. You're going to windshield wiper. You're going to do whatever feels good to reset. Keep engaging those girdles. Press into your hands and curl those toes to help you lift up into that table, and then move back into your child, resting completely back into that child. So maybe you've got to walk your knees a little bit apart in order to find a place of comfort for you. Stay with your breath. If you're stretching your arms forward, you're getting that nice stretch down your side body, your obliques. You can also be reaching back behind you. Make sure that you're staying hydrated, drinking the water as you need it. Inhaling and exhaling. We are going to come up onto hands and knees. So if you know that you like some cushion, do that. Hands right underneath those shoulders. Don't hyperextend those elbows. Start with those little teeny tiny cat and cows with the lower girdle with the pelvis, finding that place of support, and then pull those shoulders together for the upper girdle, and then your cat and cow is in the middle. So you're holding those girdles in support, and then having the movement be concentrated more in that middle back. Inhaling, dropping, exhaling, pressing through. You're lifting yourself up off your limbs, not putting all your weight on them. And then eventually you're going to be done. Rest back in a child to take the strain off your arms. holding yourself in those stable tables takes a lot of energy, and you need to rest and let yourself recover. So make sure that you're always honoring that and doing that. So hopefully all the yoga teachers that you go to allow for that rest time. They're not just blowing through it. And if they don't, then you're taking the rest time. All right, stay with that connection to your breath. You're up in that stable table. You can really feel how you are holding yourself in. And this is, I meant to grab the blocks. This is a great place for some blocks, having those up on either side of your mat. You can even have your hands on them. You're still being careful with your joints, not hyperextending. And we're going to bring that right foot up between the hands. Take your time. Use the blocks. Use the ball of your right foot, not the toe of your right foot, to find that place of support. And maybe that means then scooting the foot back in order to feel really connected with that ball of your foot. Make sure that left knee is right underneath that left hip. And then you're going to lift yourself into your knee down crescent lunge. Inhaling and exhaling, staying with your breath. Breathing full and deep. Your hands are going to come to your heart. Stay with your breath. Now I got to think about how I want to lead this next one, because it's such a great stretch for that upper body. As you keep that lower body solid, you're going to take that right arm. This is how I think it works. You're going to take, and you're keeping your girdle engaged. You're taking that right arm and you're reaching for, and it could be the back of your right hand, just reaching for anywhere on your left glute, your left butt cheek. So you're going past your midline, and then you're going to lift that left arm. Inhale and exhale. Keep those girdles engaged and you're lifting that heart, keeping those blades pulled down as you gently stretch into that C curve. Keep trying to pull that right over to the left as you pull the left over to the right. Inhaling and exhaling. Stay with your breath. And then you're going to bring yourself back into a neutral position to then once again bring yourself back on two hands and knees. And you can move through some cat and cows. Press yourself back to child, or you can pull yourself forward into knee down plank and then let yourself come all the way down to the belly, and then pull yourself up a little bit into that baby cobra. And if you're feeling really open, you can also pull yourself up into into bigger cobra or upward dog. And then we are going to go to downward dog if that's what floats your boat. If you do not want to go into downward dog, you can go right into your table or your child. Notice how you feel. Inhale and exhale. Stay with your breath. This is a great big stretch on your whole body. Eventually you're going to be done. You're going to bring those knees down, and then you're going to step. Right? Make sure that right knee is right underneath your hip. You're bringing that left foot up between your hands, just stepping it up, staying with that awareness of how the ball of the foot is doing the work. You can curl those toes back there in order to help you stay nice and supported, and then lift yourself into your crescent lunge. You should feel this stretch right there on the right side. You've got that right glute engaged. That right glute is definitely active where the left one is not so much. This is where you learn how to activate each side. One is for stability, one is for mobility, one is to help you stop, and one is to help you go. That is what your butt does and your hips. All right, you're going to bring your hands down, and this is where you're going to keep that upper girdle engaged. Definitely, or both girdles, keep lifting that heart. Take the back of your left hand and just reach for that right glute. So just reach a little bit past your middle. You don't have to reach all the way around and, put your finger in your navel. But you do need to reach and feel that stretch, and then staying with that lift and that support. That opposite arm lifts, and then you are going a little bit deeper, as much as feels good, into the stretch. I feel this a little bit more on this shoulder, so always being careful with yourself. Inhaling and exhaling, and then bringing yourself back into that neutral position to then bring yourself back into the knees down, and then only if you want to either go through that little mini flow to a downward dog, or lift yourself to a downward dog wherever you're at, or press yourself back to child. If you have lifted yourself to downward dog, you are going to come down to child and completely reset, inhaling and exhaling. We're not going to go up any higher than a downward dog, and like I said, it's always your call. Stay with your breath. We're going to do a little knee down warrior 2 series. I love this series. It really helps to open those hips, and where you can get that awareness training of how you are lifting yourself up off those limbs. Bring that right leg forward, and then the back leg turns, and so you're lining up that right heel and that left knee, and then opening up into your warrior 2, coming up into that position of lifting that heart right over that navel, and then bringing those arms out to the side. Inhale and exhale. I find it to be more stabilizing with that left knee right underneath the left hip. Now, that's not to say if it's comfortable, it can be a little bit out, but that, I think, is a little bit more work. So I bring, because that's a little like to really mimic, because the warrior 2, you've got your leg out, the hip moved out to the side, but it doesn't really matter, because it's I just want it to be supported. So whatever works for you, that's what I mean when I said it doesn't really matter. If yours is out and it feels great, then keep it there. All right, you're going to come into that side angle. We are practicing that hinge. Even though we're closer to the floor, I still like to use that block. Inhale and exhale. That left arm is coming up into the air, breathing full and deep. Navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. You're going to lengthen up. Here's where you're going to bring that right leg. Now you're going to lengthen it out. You're still keeping that kneecap. If you want to smear your foot down, you totally can, but you're hinging into that knee down triangle. Stay with your breath. And then you're bringing yourself up to then come back around, bend that knee, bring that right foot back, that right knee next to that left knee. If you want to move through a little flow up to a downward dog. If you just want to press yourself back into a child and breathe deep into your body, noticing how you feel, take a moment to do that. I'm going to turn around so I can stay facing you. I'm going to come to that warrior 2 position, knee down on the opposite side. So now I've got my left leg forward, keeping that right knee right underneath my hip, and then opening to the warrior 2 position. So I move that lower leg to the long edge of my space, and I've even got my toes curled to help with balance. And then we're going to hinge. Once you feel supported, keep feeling that stretch on the inside of that left leg. You can use that block on the floor, or if you feel comfortable just pressing your hand onto the floor, you're getting that nice opening. That right arm is reaching up. You're keeping that girdle engaged. Inhale and exhale. Keep dropping that tail. Keep lifting those hip flexors. Use that to help you lift up. And this is where the leg comes out, and it's not any, fancy thing that happens. I'm still keeping that kneecap, nice and supported. That kneecap is never hyperextended. I'm always, like hyperextended is where it's like, you know, I'm doing it right there, how it's like all the way through. So if you are keeping it nice and soft is what you're always looking for. And then, so the kneecap always pulled up into that thigh. Reach into that knee down triangle hinge, inhaling and exhaling, staying with your breath, and then lifting yourself up. Use your hands on the floor, the blocks, bend that knee, pull that leg back as many steps as it takes. Move through whatever thing feels good, or just press yourself back into a child, breathing full and deep. Navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. Stay with your breath. And then lift yourself up to come around onto those onto those behinds. So if you're coming from hands and knees onto the behind, and then letting your legs be in a comfortable position in front of you. There is a few different levels to this next thing I'm going to go through. You're only going as far as feels good. This is kind of like seated balance. And it's definitely working a muscle that is not really worked very much, but it's that upper thigh. So we're going to start, and I'm sitting on a blanket that helps me stay up a little bit. I've got that left leg kind of tucked in next to me. I've got it activated. I'm pressing down evenly through my glutes, and then I've even got my blocks so I can gently bring my hands, and then I'm just going to lift that leg. So that knee is really bent, but that leg is lifted. I've got that glute down. Inhale and exhale. Breathing full and deep. If you want to kind of lower and lift it a couple times, you should feel it right in this front body. Try to stay lifted. Inhale and exhale. I'm calling this seated balance because you are still balancing. Always balancing in your trunk. Inhale and exhale. Let that right leg come down next to the left leg. Do whatever feels good as far as resetting your posture, and then it is the same thing other side. Keep the glute down, and you are lifting this leg a few times, up and down. Inhaling and exhaling. Pause. Breathing full and deep. Bring the soles of those feet together, and then you're in charge with how close you bring those feet. Use those blocks for a nice stretch in those butterfly legs. Stay with your breath. Inhale and exhale. Make sure you're drinking water as you need it. We're going to do that same thing, but just a little bit different. Make sure you start with that left leg and that place of support, and you're keeping both glutes down, and then you are letting that right leg come up, and instead of going up and down, you're going side to side. So keep that glute down as that leg travels. Stay lifted in your trunk. Breathing full and deep. Inhale and exhale a couple more times, and then you're going to pause. Make sure you feel nice and comfortable. Bring that right leg in. Make sure you're supported. Lift, and then let it swing. You have total control. You're not losing control. Inhale and exhale. Stay with that breath. And then let that leg come down and notice how you feel. And so let's do double pigeon. And this is one of those ones where sometimes this doesn't work for everybody. And if you know seated pigeon, which is what double pigeon is, seated pigeon, or fire log, sometimes it's called. If you know this doesn't work for you, then make sure you modify by coming into the pigeon that does work for you. So it does help to line yourself up on your mat, either the long edge or the short edge, because you're going to bring that left leg as parallel as you can, that left shin as parallel as you can to the edge of your mat. This is where you keep those glutes connected, bringing that right leg on top and then bringing that right knee down. Now, if you have a big gap, you're still trying to press that knee down. I started with a big gap and I was able to then get down. You can also bring a block in here to hold you. If it is like too much, like you can't do it because your hips are not open enough, then bring your soles of your feet together. Keep stretching those insides of your legs as you come forward. But if you are here and you're somewhere from here to here, you're breathing full and deep, and you can also come forward. Stay with your breath, inhaling and exhaling. We're going to hold this for just a little bit longer. We've worked up some oxygenated blood. And how is this for a really good stretch, never getting up on your feet, doing all the stretches on the floor. Hopefully it keeps your energy level a little bit more for than the actual work. Getting up and down can take a lot of energy. It's important that you keep practicing that. But sometimes, you know, you just want to have a little less work. All right, I still got that right leg on top active. I still got the left leg on bottom active. I'm going to unactivate them so they relax and then go into a couple little windshield wipers. And then I'm going to bring the right leg parallel, the right shin, bringing that left leg on top. Remember to modify as it feels good to you. And if this pigeon does not work for you on this side, remember it could be like your leg could be up. You can always bring the block or have a blanket, or you're just bringing the soles of your feet together and you are still working on opening those hips. It's just a little bit different. Or you're coming onto your back and doing that four-legged four stretch pigeon on your back, or you could do regular pigeon. Only hinging over those legs that feel good to you. Inhale and exhale. Stay with your breath. And then let yourself come up and let the legs become soft and not as active, and then let those windshield wipers happen. Inhale and exhale. Here, you could also use a scarf or a towel to come onto your back with that strap near you. I'm going to make just a little cushion for my head in order to help keep my neck long. That's what that's for. Starting with the knees bent, letting yourself move however feels good, inhaling and exhaling so it's pulling gently on the top of my head in order to get that neck nice and long, and then my chin's nice and tucked. Stay with your breath. I'm still trying to pull those shoulder blades down. Only if you keep your glutes heavy do you rock and circle with your feet up off the floor. And let your ankles turn if that feels good. And then eventually you're going to be done with the movement. This is where you're going to grab your strap or your scarf or your towel, and you're going to put it on the ball of your right foot. That left leg can extend down. Keep it pretty active. You can also just have the left knee bent and the left foot on the floor, and then have your girdles engaged as you press through that right heel, reaching that right foot up to the sky, and you hopefully have got room, can start to make some circles. The leg is doing the work, not the arms so much. Go in all the directions around. Try to keep the strap on the ball of your foot, not your arch. And then pause. If you want to choke up to get that little extra stretch, your arms are still not doing any of the work. Keep the knee nice and relaxed. Pull that right kneecap up into your thigh. You're doing the same with the left, actually, to protect those knees. Bring the strap into your right hand. Left arm comes out shoulder height. And then keeping both glutes on the floor, let that right leg open up, pressing through that heel. So don't let that left side roll up. Inhale and exhale, breathing full and deep. You're not holding on with the death grip with the strap. You're still feeling in your fingers. And then lift yourself up. Here's where you are going to bring that strap now into your left hand. Jiggle onto that left hip as you bring that leg across. Try to keep that right shoulder blade connected to the mat. Keep pressing through that right heel. Your gaze is wherever feels good. Inhale and exhale. Stay with your breath. Bring that right leg back up. Keep that right leg up as you remove the strap, and then let the right leg travel down to meet the left leg, and notice how your body feels with doing that stretch on that one side. And then you can move in order to reset, and then we're going to do that stretch on the opposite side. So same thing, keep those girdles engaged. Your limbs are not doing any of the work. It's all your trunk. You're protecting that kneecap. Inhale and exhale. Stay with your breath. Let some circles happen. Doesn't matter which way you go. Let the leg do the work, not you. Your arms are just following along. Make sure you go in all the directions. And then if you want to do the choke up, just to get that nice stretch, especially down the back of that leg, you're being very careful with that delicate knee. Bringing yourself back down if you did choke up, and then letting that left leg open up to the side. Inhale and exhale. Keep that right side anchored into the floor. Remember, you're not having a death grip on the strap, the blanket, the scarf. Lift, jiggle onto that right hip, and then let that left leg come across, keeping that left arm nice and anchored. Inhale and exhale. You really got to pull your tail down to get this strain out of your low back. And then you're going to bring that left leg back up. Same thing, let the strap fall away, and then take your time letting it come down to meet. And then if you are ready for relaxation, you're just going to stay there. If you do want to move through any sort of posture that would feel good, take time to do that. You've got time to still do, hopefully you still got time to do whatever feels good in your body. And then once you feel complete, let yourself settle in for 5, 7, 8, 10 minutes of relaxation, either on your back or seated in meditation, because this is where that integration's happening. This is where the magic's happening. You've done some work, even though we never got up off the floor. You still were able to break down some muscles, and now it is knitting back together. So please take care of yourself. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Namaste. Until next time. Bye.